Attention all warriors. Are you tired of the mundane? Looking for a new and exciting challenge? The Irish Peacekeeping Ninja Force is seeking new recruits to join our ranks. If you're a highly skilled, retired individual with a full, clean EU driver's license, then we're the organisation for you. As a member of our elite force, you'll be trained in the art of stealth and combat, ready to face any threat that comes your way. If you have a passion for justice, then the Irish Peacekeeping Ninja Force has a role for you. Take on the challenge and become part of something bigger than yourself. Apply now to join our ranks. Together, we will work to create a world free of snakes and rats.
Well, I don't actually have anything planned.
That's okay. That's okay. We're wrecked. That's fine. We just go with the bloody flow. It's happening.
You've lost weight.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, well, I've been walking and I'm watching my calories.
Am I going to be the fat friend on the stage?
No, I'm still the fat friend. I'm still the fat friend.
I had a friend that took a photograph of me, a candid snap of me in the pub, and he put it into the group chat as like, look who I'm out with. I'm out with Kevin. And I had an existential breakdown for the rest of the night where I just thought, oh my God, I've turned into my 70-year-old dad. It was really shocking. And that's a nice segue for de-aging.
Oh, honestly.
I'll use small words that you'll be sure to understand, you warthog-faced buffoon.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
What did you say?
You are a sad, strange little man.
Don't call me stupid.
Hello and welcome to The Best Bits, a movie podcast where we pick our favourite scenes from randomly selected, weirdly specific themes. This is your co-host, a writer of, how many films have I done?
One and a bit.
And 3 and a bit episodes of TV. And I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, a writer of 3 films plus a Christmas special, Will Collins.
How are you getting on, Kevin Lehan? What's the crack? Good to be here.
I'm fucking exhausted.
I'm tired too. I wish I could de-age right now.
Just put on that beauty filter. That's all you need.
I have all the beauty filters switched on. I'm all on right now. My computer is chugging. The RAM has been sucked up, trying to take the wrinkles and harsh life off of my face.
I don't think that light is your friend, so we should turn down the light in the... That's a Simpsons reference. I'm not calling Will old.
It's awfully dark in here.
Light is not your friend. All right, let's do this thing.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. De-aging.
Yeah, were you thrilled?
I'll tell you what I can tell you.
Go on.
I remember when de-aging was first spoken about, and it was like, oh, it's going to be this cool new thing. Right. And it was for X-Men The Last Stand.
And I would expect you of all people would understand my feelings about the misuse of power.
Power corrupts and all that. Yes, I know, Johnson. When are you going to stop lecturing me?
When you start listening.
And I remember seeing that film and seeing the de-aging effect in that film. And
I remember thinking, oh, that doesn't look very convincing.
Mm-hmm. It was like the skin looks like it wants to slip off their face and their teeth are moving around. It's weird.
Why did they look like a Kardashian? But that only came about in 2006.
Wow.
So in 16 years, there haven't been that many de-aging films. A lot of Marvel.
They're Marvel. That's what primarily I'm thinking Marvel.
Star Wars. Disney have a fierce hard-on for it.
There's a few outside of that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, Disney used it for Tron as well.
Dad, I'm not your father, Sam. And I'm very, very happy to see you.
That was an early one.
Yeah.
Yeah. You look at you, the enthusiasm. I think they've gotten better in recent years. I think the Marvel movies, like, the Samuel L. Jackson one was pretty decent.
Yeah, but black don't crack. I mean, they didn't have to do much there. Just take his eye patch off and suddenly he's like, my God, it's a young Nick Fury.
They've de-aged him amazingly. But yeah, the early ones. The Michael Douglas one, I didn't like.
Nah.
It looks so weird still.
I'll tell you what my favourite de-aging scene was to get the ball rolling.
Wow, you're starting with your favorite. Wow, I've got one I could share.
I'm Benjamin Buttoning this.
Oh,
I'm
shit,
going
okay.
right back.
Right, okay.
And my pick is not Benjamin Button.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what it is?
Well, okay. Do you want me to try and guess? Right.
All the clues I've given you.
Is this?
Actually, you tell me. You tell me what your pick is, and then I'll tell you what mine is.
Okay, my pick.
Drag it out because we've got another 50 minutes to fill.
Okay, my pick predates X-Men: The Last Stand, and I don't know, is this a cheat? Because as I looked at all of the kind of releases with all these de-aging ones, and I basically, there isn't, even the Irishman, you know, it's the uncanny valley effect.
It's what it is.
Do you remember when Robert De Niro was beating up the guy and he was curb stomping him?
Yeah.
And he had this rubber face on and he still had the body of like a 75-year-old.
Yeah. It was one of those moments, one of those shots where editing could have been your friend. Or could have been a friend to Robert De Niro in that moment.
Like that Liam Neeson cut.
Oh, yeah. Jumping over the fence.
Goes over a fence in 60 cuts.
Yeah. I think we needed 60 cuts of Robert De Niro pushing the guy out through those the shop doors and not seeing the walk. Because he has this really frail walk up to the man on the street. But I went for a cheat answer, right? And my cheat answer comes from 2002. And it is from The Lord of the Rings, Two Towers. And it's the de-aging of King Theoden.
Mm-hmm.
When we meet him, he is old and decrepit and almost like you can see the cobwebs in his hair.
Which one was he again?
He's the king of the Rohan riders. And he's the, you know...
Rohan.
So he was...
Were they like the goodies?
They're on the horses. The ones on horses.
The horses. The horse people, okay.
The horse people, actually, I think the colloquial name was.
Were they fighting,
the horses.
Were they fighting with the Frodos?
They were the horses. Yeah, the horses were fighting the Frodos. And then there was the pointy-eared lads. And they were just fighting with anyone.
They were just collecting all the rings. So it was like Sonic.
That was... Oh God, there's going to be so many frustrated Lord of the Rings fans out there right now. But my favourite de-aging scene comes from the moment where Gandalf sees that he's under the influence of Wormtongue, who's under the influence of Saruman.
I release you from the spell. I will draw you, Saruman, as poison is drawn from a wound.
And we see him de-aging from his old decrepit self to his natural self. And the special effect is him actually becoming younger. And so in actual fact, it's a cheat because his younger self is how he looks. Bernard Hill looks in real life. So that was my preferred de-aging scene. Yeah, it's a cheat.
And mine is actually from The Last Crusade. If you rewind the ending when Donovan drinks the wrong cup, if you rewind it,
right,
you get to see him de-age.
It goes from a skeleton, a pile of dust.
He turns from
to
John Carpenter into James Cameron. It's incredible. No, genuinely. I think that's a fair pick, to be honest. I don't particularly think any of the de-aging scenes are that interesting.
Yeah.
It is Uncanny Valley, so I went for a cheat as well. And I went for Death Becomes Her.
Brilliant.
The Robert Zemeckis film.
Yeah.
And it's the scene when Meryl Streep drinks the potion.
Great.
And she says, now a warning. And as she's leaving the mansion, she looks at herself in the mirror and she starts to visibly de-age. Her boobs lift, her bum tightens, her wrinkles on her neck disappear, and Meryl Streep goes from a woman in her late 40s into a woman in her early 30s. And it is very convincing.
I'm a girl.
And it's also a very good film. So that was my pick.
Great film. I haven't seen it since when it came out, mid-90s.
David Koepp.
Since the mid-90s, wasn't it?
I think it's a great satire, and it's so funny.
And I love the scene at Bruce Willis's funeral, and they're just these decrepit creatures hidden under shrouds at the back of the church. And it's a really, they've turned into witches. Yeah. So that's your favourite pick for de-aging scene. So are you going to go backwards and do the history of de-aging, or discuss de-aging?
Yeah, so X-Men.
Right.
And
they've done it.
Yeah.
What else can we talk about?
You know, sometimes the wheel, it doesn't go your way.
It's a bit cruel sometimes, yeah.
It doesn't go your way. Yeah. It's a bit cruel sometimes.
Yeah. But listen, Marvel have used de-aging Quite a lot.
Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer, Ant-Man sequel. Michelle Pfeiffer. Am I right in saying that? She was in that.
I don't know.
The research here.
What you have for your tea?
Have the wheels come off this topic, Kevin?
I might call someone.
Do that.
A specialist.
Podbot, hand me my Motorola. See if anyone can come in and help us out.
Right. Oh, jeez, he actually does have a motor phone. Would you look at the state of it? You can get disinfectant wipes now, you know.
Jesus, who am I going to call? I'm after dialing the... Hi! Yeah, are you free?
Oh, shit.
He's at the door.
I'll get this.
You actually do have someone coming.
We really need to take some of those chains off the door. Like, we don't need to be that reinforced.
Oh, Jesus. Yes, Pierce.
Hello, Pierce.
Pierce, take a seat.
Put on this headset.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Pierce.
Hello.
Were you just standing right outside the pub for the last, 20 minutes?
Always. I'm always there, Kevin. Yeah, I run a little coffee stand outside just in case. You're putting my fictitious kids through college.
I was wondering what the wailing was, but my God. Welcome back, Pierce.
What's the crack?
Hello,
Hey.
Pierce Ryan.
Hello.
Listeners might remember Pierce from season 2, episode something or other.
Don't even try and attempt it.
Where we?
It was one of the episodes, best unscripted cameo and Jump the Shark, and then the Rocky IV commentary, and then Stone Cold on Patreon.
Yeah.
This is really. I should have shares in the Best Bits podcast at this point. I think
You really should, yeah.
Do we have any NFTs or some kind of cryptocurrency that you're going to be hawking around?
I'm drawing a monkey as we speak, Pierce, and it's yours.
Is that what you're doing? Okay.
What did you call me?
Aren't all the celebrities buying NFT monkeys at the moment? Isn't that the
Apes
thing
will.
they're doing?
Mhm.
This particular NFT.
If they have a tail, they're a monkey. If they don't have a tail,
I
they're an
can't
ape.
see. It's just their head. I can't tell. All I'm seeing is the head. I can't tell if there's a tail or if there's not a tail.
All I can see are arses. So, you know.
That's going to be the title of your autobiography, isn't it, Kevin? I remember you told me.
It is. Everywhere I go, all I see are arses. Pierce, we had a topic, best de-aged scene. We thoroughly explored it, and we got into the nitty-gritty.
Oh, God. You started slating Lord of the Rings.
Who's the age in the Lord of the Rings? Is it Gandalf, I suppose, in The Hobbit?
King Theoden, the king, or the steward, or whatever he is, of Rohan.
The horses.
Okay.
In the second one.
The horses.
The horses are de-aged.
Well, that's what Gollum as well, right? Gollum looks a bit younger in the first film when we see a glimpse of him, don't we?
Oh, I suppose, yeah.
There we go. And basically, John Travolta is getting younger in every film, right? No. Ultimately, he's just going to end up playing like the bubble child at the end of 2001. That's going to be his final role, I think, John Travolta.
Well, it'll have to be a remake because he was in a film called The Boy in the Plastic Bubble, where he was actually in a plastic bubble. So he's been there, man. He's been there.
And he was also in a film called Pulp Fiction, which is what I think when I look at some of the de-aged faces on screen.
But Kevin, what are we going to do? What are we going to do if we're dropping de-aging and you have to bring in Pierce? Why are you bringing Pierce in?
So, listen, you were going to take over and host this episode because we're both absolutely shattered. It's over to you.
No pressure,
and
Pierce.
Here we go. Let's roll the Pierce theme for the podcast.
Fisty, 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 ooh, fisty, fisty, fisty,
This is really handy because I've just got my scene wheel back from the repair shop. I don't know if you know Mick's Scene Wheel Repair Shop and Tattoo Parlor.
Yes.
Do you know it? It's in Kulakland.
I know it
and
well.
It's Tattoo Parlor as well.
They're robbing bastards.
And they only do tattoos of Irish directors.
Wow.
Oh, Christ.
Have you got
Which
one?
is kind of amazing. And also, here's the other condition. They must be doing an action that rhymes with their name. So I have 3 so far. I have Jim at the gym. I have Neil having a meal. And I have Lenny and Pennies doing a shop. There we go. And they're all on my left
That's a bit
knee.
of a stretch there.
And it was all done today, in fact. So, okay, let's spin the scene wheel that's just been recently repaired by Mick and see what happens.
It looks more like an octagon. Are we expected to fight each other over this? And do you want to do the honors, Pierce?
Best DVD or Blu-ray extras or 4K or whatever the hell you're having yourself. So the best kind of extras that I've ever been on physical media. I guess that incorporates kind of making of documentaries, commentaries.
I've got one.
Go on.
Yeah, it's the behind the scenes footage with David O. Russell and Lily Tomlin on I Heart Huckabees.
I haven't seen this. Why is it so good?
Well, you get to see them negotiate how to block out a scene, and it's really, it gives you great insight into Hollywood and how it works. And I watched that. I think it was 2006.
Are you taking a piss?
No, I'm deadly serious.
Is it real? Okay.
It's real. I watched that, and it made me want to be a screenwriter. I just thought it was so moving.
No, you taking the piss?
Pierce knows what I'm talking about.
We know that, yeah.
Was it a big bust up?
I'll play the clip there.
Okay.
Fuck you! I'm just trying to fucking help you. Do you understand me? No, I'm being a fucking collaborator. Do I not fucking yell at you before right now? I never fucking yelled at you, you fucking stand.
That would be one of mine.
Okay. I honestly don't know what that clip is because I'm not hearing the clip, and I think that might be a joke clip. I think it is a joke clip.
My God, you don't trust me at all. After 17 years, you don't trust me at all.
You know what mine is, right? Because I've had literally seconds to research this topic. So my mind has gone to when anyone asks me what's my favorite DVD extras, DVD special features, I always think there are only one film.
Is that how you used to buy them in HMV? Do you have any DVDs?
The only films I could think of were Lord of the Rings, Kevin. Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
no.
Was there a special de-aging extra that you were particularly drawn to?
Well, I've got two, right? And I'm actually...
I particularly like the 4-hour audio commentary on the extended editions. I thought it was really in-depth.
4-hour commentaries on each film. There's 4-hour commentaries on each film. No, honestly, I wasn't going to pick this. This isn't my pick, but I have to actually say the bloody well extra features in the Lord of the Rings extended editions are amazing. But it's not my pick. My pick is the Alien quadrilogy.
Genuinely great pick. I've watched those behind the scenes stuff almost as much as the films themselves.
Yes, honestly, listeners, if you haven't picked up a copy of the Alien quadrilogy, with each film you basically get a feature film length documentary for the making of each film.
Yes, the Alien one is called The Beast Within,
and they don't pull any punches on those.
That's what's amazing.
Certainly to be scared has been part of human nature since its very beginnings.
What Alien says about us now are those fears that we have, which may be those fears that show up when we're dreaming, the nightmares.
I think he took a lot of techniques from Alfred Hitchcock in the sense that you don't really see everything. The imagination is used, and I think that's what made it so terrifying.
I think once you're making a movie, you better keep that pressure on all the way through. On anything, actually. But God knows on a thriller, or God knows it's a marathon of tension.
Yes, we hear the struggles, the pain,
the bullshit.
Yeah.
Some of the shitty things that the executives were doing.
Yes.
Especially to David Fincher on Alien 3.
Even if you hate Alien 3, the feature-length documentary for Alien 3 is riveting. Oftentimes, when you have a documentary about a film that goes wrong, it's worth the making of a bad film because you get an interesting documentary because it's full of drama and juiciness. And these extra features are packed, even for Alien Resurrection.
That's interesting because lots of Ridley Scott movies have amazing kind of documentaries about, like Blade Runner, obviously, has got he's got one as well, which is Dangerous Days, I think is the name of it. It's about 3.5 hours long.
Yes. Is that the one? That's not the one that Mark Kermode made. It's not.
No, it's not. No.
What was the Exorcist one? The Fear of God.
The Fear of God is so good.
That was great.
Yeah.
That wasn't the full title of it. The Fear of God is so good. That's what it sounded like.
This is cinema as magical incantation, and as any sorcerer's apprentice knows, even good magic can be dangerous.
But that's right. I remember like those documentaries on BBC when they were first shown, and then of course they're ported over onto DVD. But they were amazing. That's when you first saw the spider walk, wasn't it? Remember they had unearthed the footage, and it was the first time you had seen any of that. He also did a brilliant one on the French Connection, I think, as well, which is also on the DVD.
But what was really important about The Fear of God is that led to a tidal wave of support for unbanning that film. So, the power of that documentary, it can't be understated, really.
That's right. And there was like a freaking cut then that came out afterwards with the spider walk and everything reinstated into it, wasn't it? Or was the cut that you've never seen?
Definitely. Yeah,
maybe I think it was called.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, all those I mentioned this to somebody there before, but if you go on the Magnolia DVD, and by the way, a lot of these documentaries you can find on YouTube now. Obviously, people have just ripped them and put them up.
That's also one of the things I like about this new age is, although I think there's a big difference between documentaries of films before they're coming out, where it's almost like it's marketing,
EPK stuff.
it's advertising the film.
I hate it.
Yeah. But there are a lot of really interesting like the David O. Russell one.
The David O. Russell one. Yeah, which shows you, the only way to direct is to shout at people.
You see, I knew you were taking a piss. I knew it.
That's clearly the way to direct and that's clearly the way to get the best out of people is just to shout at them. But the Making of Magnolia documentary, you can find it on YouTube. It's called That Moment. And it's about 70-something minutes long. And it's brilliant because it literally goes from him writing the script all the way to the premiere.
It was weird because I found that I couldn't write in the chaos of Boogie Nights coming out. I mean, I just couldn't. I think I just wanted to make another movie right away. I was scared about expectations. And I thought I could cut them off at the pass if I just went right away and made another one. And as it started to die out, I started to write. So anyway, I wrote for 8 months. And the reality is that the majority of the writing really happened in the last 2 weeks. I went to Bill Macy's cabin in Vermont for a week, which is the middle of fucking nowhere. And that was really fantastic. And there was a snake outside the cabin. So, and this is true, I was really scared to leave. So it really kept me in the cabin for 1 week, and I just wrote. And I mean, it was really like ironing. Richard LaGravenese has always described sort of writing as like, if you're ironing a shirt, you go a little bit and then you go a little bit more, over the same section again, but down a little bit more and then down a little bit more. And that's kind of what it was like. And in those 2 weeks, it was just like...
You see a lot of stuff that you wouldn't normally see in a documentary. For example, there's a bit, and they're in the middle of shooting, and he finds out that basically some of the budget has been taken away, or there's some kind of stuff going on that he wasn't aware, and literally it's just come to light. And all of this has been filmed, and normally you would imagine that would be edited out of a documentary, but they kept it in. It's really, really interesting. What's also interesting is seeing him. He's continuing to write while he's filming, which you're just kind of going, where are you finding the time? For God's sake, do you ever sleep to do that? I mean, he's literally coming in with new scenes that he's written that night, after a full day's shooting. It's quite incredible.
I didn't know what Magnolia was, and
it's paint.
I rented it and the DVD, so it was just in the dawn of DVDs. So I'd actually rented a DVD from Extravision, and there was this really surly guy working behind the counter, and oh god, he just almost turned me off films. That's what I'm insinuating, Kevin. But I went home, watched the movie. I loved the film. I went to the extra features, watched that documentary. I loved the film even more. Then I went back and rewatched the film. It was so raw and honest, and as you said, candid. Yeah. There were moments there even where it almost feels like it's like drunk footage of them. One of them had a camcorder.
It's like their own personal home movie kind of footage.
Exactly.
Like there's bits when he's on set with Philip Seymour Hoffman, and they're just having a laugh. Basically, and he's kind of he's showing the camera, this is how Phil is going to do the next scene, and Phil just has to go over to the mantelpiece and open up a cigar box. But like the way that Phil he imagines is going to do it, basically he finds obstacles everywhere on his way to the cigar box and is rattling around everything. So he's turning what should be just a 5-second scene into like 2 minutes long, basically. A big character kind of moment. It's just fabulous.
It's in the era just before everyone got publicity managed, before social media basically took over, where people's guards were down a little bit more. And so an extra camera on the set was just like, oh, look, no one will ever see this.
Do you know what you're talking about there, Will? You can actually even see it with the DVD releases of Paul Thomas Anderson's movies, because Hard 8, or Sydney, I think he calls it, that has fabulous, 2 brilliant commentaries on it. Again, you can find these commentaries on YouTube, where he's really, really candid about the filming of this and basically the trouble that he had with the production company. And he had to basically steal his own movie in order to bring it to Cannes.
Oh, I remember this now.
Yeah, and he goes into a load of detail about it. It's really well put together because you got Philip Baker Hall as well, kind of chips in. There's lots of the cast kind of talking, and they're talking very freely.
It's my first movie, and it means a lot to me. It kind of became a bastard child for a little while, but it's mine now, and I love it, and there's a lot to say, so I'll start saying it. The reason why the titles are at the beginning is because of a guy named Robert Jones, who's one of the producers of this movie. I had the 4 presentation cards at the beginning, and then the movie started. In other words, Reicher Entertainment presents Green Parrot Productions associated with Trinity, PT Artists Picture, boom, and we start. Because I like to do it that way. That's how Boogie Nights is. And what happened was I got, through a sort of everyone's contract, a sort of standard movie contract is that your title goes before the picture. Your sort of main title credit goes before the picture. Now, considering that I'm friends with everyone who's on this movie, with the exception of Robert Jones, everyone agreed to waive that right. Except Robert Jones, who had been essentially kicked off the movie by Reicher Entertainment. So before that came to light, I had to get his permission, and he said point blank to me, I will not waive my right to have the main title at the beginning. So therefore, I am essentially forcing you to put the main titles at the beginning.
It's the same with like Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
Boogie Nights got 2 brilliant commentary tracks, him just on his own.
You're listening to a guy who learned a lot about ripping off movies from watching Laserdiscs with director commentary. Some of this movie comes from me, sure. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. When I sat down with Mike DeLuca, I had just come from a situation where I'd gotten so royally fucked over. I just came at him and he was like, calm down. What the fuck is your problem? Maybe someone else would want to meet Robert De Niro or Tom Hanks or something. I wanted to meet John C. fucking Reilly. Every single thing he does makes me laugh. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? I'm pretty egotistical and proud of this movie.
This is a giant cock.
Macy gets the gun, and this crowd of college kids cheers. Now then he shoots them, and they cheer even louder. And I thought, well, I have fucked up. Well then, Macy walks out, and he shot himself in the face, and they shut the fuck up real quick. We like it. I wrote and directed this movie, by the way. You don't think I can do it again? Well, watch what I have up my sleeve.
But also there's one where he basically goes and visits lots of the cast in their own homes. And they're just having the chat. And probably the most memorable bit of it is Mark Wahlberg, who who basically tells a story about how in his real life he broke his penis.
Well, I've had my penis broken, if you can believe that or not, while having sex.
How?
Just snapped the other way.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
How? When?
Ugh. It's not good.
Like what? Like what happened?
I thought I was dying, bro.
When did this happen?
I went to the bathroom. I laid there for about 5 minutes. I went into the bathroom. I turned the light on, and it I don't know. You see like the Little Rascals, or like the Three Stooges when they're like making a pie or something. Or it's like blowing up, or an inner tube is about to explode, like an old car tire is about to explode. I had that a big black bubble around my prick, and I went into shock. And I laid down. I thought it was fucking a bad dream. I woke up the next morning, and the swelling was gone, and my whole entire penis was blacker than Andy's dick. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How long was it like that?
About 2 weeks.
Really?
Didn't move, didn't get hard, nothing.
How did it get better? It just went away?
Yeah, it just like turned, went from black to blue to purple.
Jesus Christ.
Red.
And then back to
pink.
Back to pink.
Thank God.
Back to normal.
Yeah.
So there we go. Podbot, if you want to cue that one up.
Done.
Oh my God.
You're welcome.
You can. But literally, so you have that, then Magnolia has that brilliant documentary, but then after that, he didn't do any more commentaries or anything like that for his movies, and the extras kind of just dwindled away, to be honest with you.
I've always wondered why Spielberg never did any commentaries for his films. That would be fascinating. Did any of you guys see the From Dusk Till Dawn documentary, Full Tilt Boogie?
No.
Where Tarantino basically gave his friend carte blanche to shoot a documentary on the making of From Dusk Till Dawn, but the documentary was focused more on the day-to-day sort of production side of things. So it was like with the grips and the gaffers and the non-union guys, and they're getting drunk and they're hanging out and they're gossiping, and it's just the mundane sort of like Big Brother type vibe of making a film. None of the actors are sort of focused. It's not about them. It's about the actual crew. And yeah, that's a really good one.
I love famous people. I love them. I like to watch them eat. Anything like that. I love them.
Andy Watts, Starfucker.
Yeah, I'd be a stalker if I actually wasn't paid to watch them.
Why do you like working in the film business, Kenny?
The pay.
Okay.
Money. The only reason is money.
Big money. It's like kind of like that articulation of life, studying life, and it's why those last hands, that moment, that 1,000th of a second as the shutter clicks, as everything's immortalized, and I get a real rush out of that, knowing that I could do like that or that.
14 on my list.
Just documenting history, and a history that doesn't exist, and we're all making it up, and it's life, and I love it.
It's one of the conditions of my probation.
I don't know. Ah!
Why do I work in the film business? Hi, JT. How are you, sweetheart? That's why I work in the film business.
So I don't have to have a real job. So I can work with a lot of people who don't want to have real jobs.
You're doing what you want. Getting paid all that money, and you get free meals, and they pay for the hotel. You don't find that in any other business. Anyone that complains, I've never understood it. Oh, we're gonna have chicken again today? Really? Is it filet mignon and lobster you have every night? You know.
Because of the craziness, the zaniness. I don't want to work 9 to 5. So I'd rather work from 4 to 1. 4 to 4.
When I was a kid, I had a little black and white TV up in my room, and I would stay up really late watching movies, just watching movies. And for me, all my life, it's been movies were, my favorite, art form. And so for me now to be able to have the chance to make those movies so that some other kid can be staying up all night in his room watching TV and watching old movies, and the movies that I worked on, to try and keep that going. Movies are just such a part of American life right now. To have a say in that and to be able to work on those, I think is, a privilege.
It's a damn good time, man. Living, loving, working, sweating, grinding, hugging, kissing. It's all good. It's art. It's fun. It's all come together.
I'm just trying to think what was my first DVD that I ever bought. I presume it was The Matrix, I think.
Mine was The Mask of Zorro.
The Mask of Zorro.
I think it was just available. Yeah. The DVDs were sort of like rare. There might be 5 or 10 of them on a shelf. Yeah. And there might be one out next week. And then suddenly it started to become, there's 10 out this week and 20 out next week. And also, I want to mention one other thing, which is a really sort of oddity and curio. And it is the chronological cut of Memento.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Did any of you ever bother watching that?
I never watched it. Yeah.
So you have all the black and white footage at the start, and then you have the color footage after, right? Yeah.
Yeah. How does it hold together?
It doesn't really hold together. Oh. It doesn't sort of work because it, what's this guy from Groundhog Day? Phil Collins?
Oh, it's Stephen Tobolowsky.
The scene with him and that becoming the reveal of it actually being the backstory of Guy Pearce's character, they don't really work when you sort of put it in chronological order. Also, just want to mention, because, you talked about Lord of the Rings, the Superman box set, the documentaries on those.
We were in a terrible, terrible bind in terms of having to get things done quickly because Brando and Hackman had been signed. And they were locked into start dates.
They really were unvarnished sort of look backs on what the set was like and the struggles for Donner with the Salkinds and making the first blockbuster in the comic book realm. 2 films at once, a huge undertaking.
And I'm remembering something like we got on the picture like at Christmas and we were going to shoot in June. 6 months is no time to prepare a huge picture like this.
I cannot talk for Guy Hamilton. But whatever he did, he saw the picture different than I did. There was not one piece of preparation of that year that they had on the picture that I could use.
They had spent $6 million before Dick even got on. Nobody knew how to make Superman fly. Dick started from scratch.
And it's a great documentary. It's like the Alien quadrilogy in that respect, where the gloves are off, but no one's trying to strike blows. They're just sort of matter-of-factly telling you, oh, we didn't get on, this person had Parkinson's, whatever.
There was also as well the Phantom Menace documentary. Remember that one?
Pierce, I was literally about to say
Yeah.
it. I was literally about to say
Which,
it.
again,
and
it's sort
you
of...
can't get that now. You can't get
I'm
it.
sure at the time they didn't think they were releasing anything that was like, too revealing. But actually, it's only kind of in hindsight when you watch it and you kind of go, oh, okay, that's an interesting
So
moment.
awkward.
When Lucas kind of says,
Jar Jar is a key to all this. If we get Jar Jar working, because he's a funnier character than we've ever had in any of the movies before.
Yeah.
Oh, you're like, oh God, no, man.
Oh.
There's also a bit where they showed the rough cut to the staff again, to the guy, the inner circle for the first time.
Yeah.
And like literally, it's like, okay, let's do this. And it's like cut to 2 hours later. And just you can see the blood has kind of drawn from people's faces. And they're kind of like wondering and even Lucas is there going,
It's a little disjointed.
Seems like a lot of short scenes.
It's bold in terms of jerking people around, but I may have gone too far in a few places.
Yes.
Isn't it?
And he goes, it goes from A to C, but it needs to really go from A to B to C. We're kind of missing B.
Yeah.
So we need to find a B somewhere. It's emergency stations of like, how are we going to fix this? How are we going to fix this?
And boy, did they.
But it's on, I'm sure it's one of those documentaries.
It's on YouTube.
You don't find it it's on YouTube.
It is on
I can't
YouTube,
remember what it's called.
yeah.
It's so well.
It's so good.
worth
And also
watching.
as well, you get to see Spielberg and Lucas just hanging out like two movie nerds on the set.
Yeah.
And basically Lucas is kind of showing him around and he shows him one of those droid things and the arm falls off. And they're trying to put it back on.
Spielberg's like he's a enabler. This is going to be the best movie ever made, George.
gonna be great.
This is going to
It's gonna be
break
great.
all the
It's gonna be
records.
great.
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing.
It's kind of sweet, their friendship in that respect.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And actually, when you mentioned earlier on about, it's a shame that Spielberg hasn't done commentary tracks. I always remember was a Lawrence of Arabia documentary, the one that's on the DVD, with him talking about it.
Where he was waxing lyric about David Lean.
That he watched it with David Lean, and David Lean basically gave a commentary to him.
I was involved in the restoration of Lawrence, and I remember the honor of sitting next to David the first time we showed him his own film. And he watched it for the first time in a long time with us, all finished, brand new answer print on the available printing stock that was much better than the available printing stock he had in the 60s. But instead of being quiet and watching the picture for his own pleasure, he wanted to talk me through every single scene. So I got a kind of what we have on our DVDs today, where you've got the director talking about his film while you watch the picture. You got the narration on one track. It was exactly the experience I had, except it was live. And David Lean is next to me, giving me all the details of how every single sequence was shot, where it was shot, what Peter O'Toole was like that morning. That was a good morning for Peter, a bad morning for Peter, what it was like working with Omar Sharif, what it was like working with Alec Guinness again. I mean, David was narrating the backstage how I made Lawrence of Arabia while we were watching together Lawrence of Arabia restored. It was an amazing couple of hours for me.
Could you imagine, like, how, it's such a pity nobody was able to record that.
Yeah, it is such a shame. My God, that would be amazing.
Imagine.
Nowadays, you've got to sign up to a podcast to hear an audio commentary. It's tragic.
Please consider becoming a Patreon member, where you will enjoy bonus commentaries.
But, again, the great thing is that, like, so many of these commentaries are on YouTube, and you can, it's quite easy to download them as MP3s, put them on your phone, and they're basically like a podcast. So if you've run out of episodes of Best Bits to listen to, you could actually then listen, because they are sort of like mini film schools, some of them.
Yeah, they are.
They're quite amazing.
Ours are especially.
Yeah, I'll give you just a couple of more examples of the Werner Herzog's commentary on Aguirre, Wrath of God, is flipping brilliant. First of all, it's Werner Herzog, right? So, you would listen to him reading the screenplay to Tenet. And, that would be the first time any of us will have heard the screenplay to Tenet.
They are going backwards.
There we go.
Now they are going forwards. And now everyone's going backwards.
It turns out, if you make a film in the Peruvian rainforest with Klaus Kinski, you may come back with a few stories. So...
I got a Werner Herzog box set, which includes the documentary My Best Fiend, the documentary Herzog made about Klaus Kinski. Yeah. And that's great.
It's great.
Listen, it's all
it's
behind
worth
scenes
listening
stuff
to this commentary just to hear him describe Kinski as a pestilence on the set. It's so good. I didn't realize that they met, like, he knew Kinski since he was 13. They
Yeah,
apparently were
yeah.
in like boarding houses or something, for like rogue kids or whatever, and they were kind of put together. And he said even then, this Kinski was doing unbelievable scandals. Which was just like fantastic.
Also, I
yeah.
just want to mention one which is an absolute classic, and this is also on YouTube, and it is the Danny Dyer and Nick Love commentary for Outlaw.
All right, so listen, the bottom line is this film got a fucking hostile reception when it came out. A lot of people, a lot of the press didn't like it and that. They thought it was fucking too violent. They thought it was glorifying violence. They thought, the maddest thing is they thought it was about a fucking country that doesn't exist. They're saying that, the press was saying, oh, how can you fucking say that about this film? How can you say we live in a lawless country and there's nonsense running around, there's people running around stabbing each other? And you say, what fucking papers you reading, you dozy cunts?
No Star. I've never seen No Stars before. You fucking slaves.
It takes you to film school, right?
Yeah. It's Danny Dyer Film School, the best kind of film school.
I've never seen Outlaw.
I'll give you another commentary as well, which is on YouTube as well, Spinal Tap, because the commentary that we got on the DVD over here is the cast as the characters. So they're in character doing the commentary, and they're very upset with Marty DeBurgi.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Marty DeBurgi.
That's the
I'm
guy.
a filmmaker. I make a lot of commercials.
Yeah, he takes a lot of shit, don't you? Ken?
No,
let him have his say.
Let him
have his say. Doesn't look Italian, does he? No.
In 1966,
I don't think DeBurgi is
I
his
think he
real
changed
name.
his name, you know.
I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
His
real name was De Bergamo. No. De Bergowitz.
No.
De Bergowitz, yeah.
Yeah,
Bergowitz.
I think he's one of those. Redefine the word rock and roll.
Yeah, he is one of those. Check it out, De Bergowitz.
Their exuberance.
Yeah.
Their raw power.
I don't know why we trusted him.
But there was also another commentary that was on the Criterion US DVD, and it's just them actually not in character, but as themselves, talking about the movie and how they got the movie made and where it all kind of the genesis of it and that kind of thing. And it's really, really great, man. It's very, very funny, but also full of kind of detail. It's worth it just to hear Christopher Guest talk about the origins of Nigel Tufnell.
I was living at the Chateau Marmont. This was in the 70s, in fact. And a band came into the hotel lobby. I happened to be sitting there, and Englishmen. And they came in with the manager. And they were checking in, and the manager said to one guy, "Do you have your bass?" He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Do you have your bass?" "I left it at the airport." He said, "You left your bass at the airport?" He says, "Yeah, I left it there." He said, "Well, go and get it." "What?" He said, "Your bass." "Where's my bass?" "I don't have it." He says, "You left it at the airport, you nit." So did what? "You said you left it." "Left what?" And I'm not exaggerating. This went on for 10 minutes, and I was just entranced with this. And finally he said, "Go and get it." And he said, "Go and get it." "What?" "It's your bass, you nit. Go and get your bass." "Where is it?" "At the airport." So finally, this went on for 10 minutes, and I thought, well, this has to be, we need to do this here.
But it's just basically Nigel Tufnell and just not understanding anything really about the world and kind of just talking in that kind of English accent. It's fantastic. You also kind of hear as well that they were given $50,000 to write the script at first draft, and after a couple of days they realised,
wow, that's a lot.
That was a lot
back
in the 80s, early 80s.
Sorry, I was...
But they realized you wouldn't really get across what the thing was going to be on the page. So instead they used the 50 grand to do a 20-minute sizzle reel of stuff, some of which is actually in the movie. So if you remember the black and white footage of them, some early days of the band, they're singing, "You know what I want, do. You remember all that? That was part of that. Also the Bruno Kirby stuff in the limo.
Terrible movies. Are we still in Manhattan?
No. We've gone. That tunnel we went through goes under the Hudson River.
So
We're now in New York. Yes, it's a tunnel.
I thought we had smoked windows.
Excuse me. Are you reading Yes, I Can?
Yeah. Have you read it?
Yeah, by Sammy Davis Jr.?
Yeah.
You know what the title of that book should be? Yes, I Can, if Frank Sinatra says it's okay. Because Frank calls the shots for all those guys.
They also kind of said as well that, a lot of the scenes, they were done like Curb Your Enthusiasm, which was, there was a beginning and an end, and the people, the actors knew that, but how they got there was kind of up to them. So when you watch, let's say Fran Drescher or someone like that in the movie, she's basically just coming up with that on the spot, basically. Wow. And most of the takes were the first take, because that's when people are listening the most and being surprised, and you're capturing that surprise because it is literally the first time they're hearing any of this.
That's how they went on. Christopher Guest went on to make all of his films after that, where there was no rehearsal, but they shot a lot of footage. That's and coupled it together. Then,
well, again, there's another hour of extra scenes on the DVD of, it's like an additional Tap movie.
Wow.
It's probably the best scene is Tap go to the zoo. Again, Paul might want to stick that in there.
Done. I've heard that mainly these large apes, they're bread eaters mainly. They go for, any kind of bread is
and
mainly...
yet it's strange, and yet they've developed, as a race, they've developed no baking skills.
None whatsoever, no.
And yet, but they still feed on bread primarily.
Not a race, though, they're a genus.
Well, some of them are smarter than others. You can't really...
They're a culture rather than a genus.
They're a genus and a subculture.
Yeah.
The culture is ape.
They're not a counterculture. You think of the baboons as perhaps being a countercultural.
Yeah. The smaller monkeys are mainly bread eaters as well.
Really?
In the wild, yeah.
Didn't
they
know
mostly
that.
eat bread, different types of bread.
Well, I knew a monk. I knew a bloke had a monk ate onion soup.
My God.
I know.
Also, let's also give a quick shout out to the John Carpenter and Kurt Russell.
I was just going to say.
They are always a good hang.
Any John Carpenter commentary is fantastic. But the one with Kurt Russell, because they're just two mates hanging out.
Yeah.
They're in the middle of doing like a commentary on the thing, and they're talking about, is your son still playing hockey? Oh yeah.
Oh, good.
This is fun.
The big hat was something I really enjoyed. I don't know how you felt about it, but
I had to live with it. I had to learn to love it. Look at this.
Set the dummy on fire.
That couldn't be our problem.
We don't know why you find that flashlight. He hides behind you. He'll kill you. Whoa! There. I can do this all day.
Oh, man.
I love it. The Arnie commentary as well, where he's doing commentary for Total Recall, and it's just like, this is me acting here, and I'm looking really strong because the character is strong.
Or this is me, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and this is me on the screen here, riding towards the camera. Here, this is my job. I'm a construction worker. I continuously used him as a human shield. Then I threw him down the escalator. That's a funny scene. She's trying to steal the suitcase. This is a wonderful scene where I come up to Mars as an old lady, as a fat old lady. She has 3 breasts, huh? That's the one with the 3 breasts. Oh.
God love him.
That sounds like my Werner Herzog.
He had no
impression.
idea. He went in and says, "You're doing all of the commentary. What do you mean audio commentary?" It's just like, well, you just talk about the movie. Well, I will talk about the movie. And he...
One more, because this is a screenwritery one. Okay, Chinatown, David Fincher and Robert Towne, and it's also on YouTube. So no excuse.
Is this an audio commentary or what is it?
Audio commentary. It is fascinating. And Fincher talks a lot in it. And you're kind of getting almost like 2 commentaries for the price of one. I mean, you're getting Robert Towne telling you how he wrote Chinatown and why. But also you're getting a whole lot of Fincher and kind of understanding the kind of director that he is and what makes him tick and the things that he responds to. Stuff like the way that Polanski frames a scene, even down to really small details.
I've asked you this before, but I think it's good to finally put it to rest, which is somebody once pointed out to me something about this movie, the visual motif of this movie, and how unbelievably relentless and perfectly formulated the visual motif, which is, and you've told me that you were unaware of it, but the notion that throughout the movie there's a running gag of 2 objects that are similar and one of which is flawed. And it begins with the watches here, and the watches get wound and they get left under the tire, and one of them gets crushed. And later on, the glasses that are going to be found in the saltwater tide pool, one of them is broken. And the sunglasses that Nicholson wears out in the orange groves when he gets hit, and one of them lenses breaks. When he follows Evelyn, he goes out and he breaks one of the tail lights. It can even take it as far as the nostril that gets slit and the imperfection in Faye Dunaway's eye, even through to the sister-daughter, that you have these 2. And was that at all discussed ever?
No. It was never discussed. And I was as surprised, I guess, as anybody when it was pointed out to me. But it was operating. I was dimly aware when I used the flaw in the iris that there was some leitmotif going on, but I didn't really pay that much attention to it.
It's so funny because it is one of those things where, especially when a movie achieves the kind of status that this movie has in terms of, its value to film students, there are people heap meaning onto pictures and so it becomes one of those things where when it was first told to me, I thought that is the most brilliant thing I've ever heard. And the fact that the creators of this film could have kept that front and center, and that was part of the way they stitched the whole thing together. And I'm so glad that when I finally brought it up to you, you rolled your eyes and laughed.
Yeah, no, it was operating at a level of which I was unaware, and I don't think Roman was either.
Imagine working with Fincher. He must be just every single detail. Just like under a microscope, the guy doesn't miss a thing. Great crack, yeah.
So relaxed,
so relaxing. But
do you remember when he trolled Ben Affleck and he said that they had to shut down production on was a Gone Girl because the character wouldn't wear a Mets hat or something like that?
It was.
Oh yeah, or
is
Yankees
he a Boston
hat
fan or something like that? Affleck, or,
Celtics or whatever. American sports. And it was all bullshit. He was just making it up. He was just making up to poke fun. And people took it seriously.
Talking about things that aren't
as they all want
true.
To do.
He tells Town about this theory that somebody told him.
Oh,
Robert Town had no idea that was there. No idea. So it does kind of show you how much we can read into things and that, the people themselves weren't aware of, He's also fascinating just about Nicholson's character as well. Just, again, as screenwriters.
Yeah.
Just talking about how it was like a reaction to the sort of classic private eye character that doesn't do divorce work. But like in his experience, the most successful private eyes all did divorce work. But he also made a point of, in a lot of scenes, you've got Nicholson, you got Giddy's basically telling the audience what his code is and making sure that they understand that he has lines that he won't cross. So he does have some kind of morality. So then when you see like John Huston, and when the whole thing kind of unravels at the end and the evil of John Huston's Noah Cross character, it really, you feel it hits home with Nicholson's character. It means something, There's a heart there to be broken. They also said they had a great line. They had a great line about character. Character is layers of dysfunction.
I suppose that's true because people are just layers of dysfunction.
I was going to say, look at us, but no, don't.
Fantastic. And do you want to spin the wheel one more time?
I'll give it a go. It should be well oiled by this stage now. Mick said he was really going to do a job on it. There we go.
We did 3 the last time. Symmetry. Hopefully this is an easy topic.
Okay. Let's see here. We got Best Trailer.
Oh my God. Best Trailer. Google Best Trailers.
There's one that immediately comes to mind for me.
Go on.
I tend to remember the trailers that let me down the most.
So great trailers, but the film then is terrible.
Yes.
Okay.
It is the US domestic trailer to Prometheus.
Oh,
hell,
okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
That trailer kicked ass.
A king has his reign. And then he dies. It's inevitable.
Obviously, it harkened back to the original Alien trailer, which again is also a masterpiece, with the klaxon going off and this building tension and dread. But the film itself felt like all it was that trailer. So I'm almost glad the film existed because that trailer is so amazing.
They want us to come and find them.
We're all here because of a map you 2 kids found in a cave.
Not a map. An invitation.
From whom?
Please tell me you can read that.
Prometheus, are you seeing this?
Whatever that probe is picking up, it's reading life form.
What do you mean a life form?
Oh, the head. They're changing. Changing into what?
Moving.
thing's moving.
What is that?
There's a ship. They're leaving.
To go where?
Earth.
We were so wrong. Take us home! If you don't stop it, there won't be any home to go back to.
Where's that door open? Got it up! Got it up! Big things have small beginnings.
That was amazing, Kevin. Yeah, I'm so glad you played it in full. That was incredible.
Since we were talking about like documentaries and stuff, isn't there a brilliant documentary about the making of Prometheus?
I haven't watched it
as well, which is better than the movie.
It would have to be
because it also interviews the original writer.
Oh,
John Spates.
John Spates, yeah.
And he's quite kind of candid, basically, about his role and then what happened when what's his name took over.
Damon Lindelof.
Yes.
Yeah. And the changes that were made. You don't normally get to see the original writer talking on the documentary. For some reason, production companies don't like that.
I wonder why. That's why we start podcasts. Do you know other trailers that I really like are the ones which are bespoke? They're not actually cobbled together from footage from the film. It's like a scene in itself. And one coming to mind is the Dirty Rotten Scoundrels trailer.
This Christmas, you'll want to see a movie that cherishes good human values.
It's more of a teaser trailer, but it's the one with Steve Martin and Michael Caine, and they are walking along a harbour, and they pass an elderly lady who is hobbling along. And as the trailer comes to an end, Steve Martin gently pushes the lady into the river, and it's very funny.
Be looking for this Christmas, then you won't want to see Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Yeah.
Well, I think we might have mentioned this before, but the Godzilla ones, obviously, as well. From 1998
with the foot.
That Godzilla. With the museum one and the fishing one. The museum one was, again, like you said, a bespoke, not in the movie, just shot for that teaser thing. And also, it was an in-joke, obviously, about Jurassic Park, because you got all these kids on a school trip looking at a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Weighing more than 4 metric tons.
I'm saying this is the most fearsome predator ever to be on the planet Earth, and then this huge Godzilla paw comes down through the roof of the museum and crushes it, which is pretty cool.
This creature was believed to be one of the largest predators who ever lived on our planet.
Do you remember the trailer to Rogue One? That was cobbled together with footage that never ended up in the film. It was like alternate cuts, and they were adding in TIE fighters and stuff that weren't there. And that was a cracking trailer. But yeah, a lot of that stuff just was not part of the narrative of the film.
We have a mission for you. A major weapons test is imminent. We need to know what it is and how to destroy it.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
And that's happened more and more.
Also, this isn't a kind of a new phenomenon at all. You can go back to Psycho. Psycho, the trailer for that is basically 6 minutes of Hitchcock walking around the set.
Oh, giving...
and kind of teasing you. I tell you what it reminded me of. It reminded me of one of those. Reminded me of one of those Irish Times property videos. You know, where the video goes in and shows you around the house.
Good afternoon.
It's Hitchcock showing you around.
Here we have a quiet little motel.
Terrible things happened here last week. I couldn't possibly begin to describe. And eventually he gets to like the bathroom. you know, and the shower, and he's kind of like, you know, oh, they've cleaned all of this up now. It's a big difference. You should have seen all the blood. You know?
Bathroom. Cleaned all this up now. Big difference. You should have seen the blood. The whole place was, well, it's too horrible to describe. Dreadful. And I'll tell you, there's a very important clue was found here. Well, the murderer, you see, crept in here very slowly. Of course, the shower was on, there was no sound. And,
you know, when he comes to the foot of the stairs, he says, "You should have seen the body. It broke his back on impact." And it was like, yeah, it's great. It's a great marketing, clever
it's
marketing
awesome.
device.
I think like every director should be make one of those kind of trailers, you know, just walking around the set explaining their movie, you know, with a wink and a nod.
I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but I worked for a producer who said to write the trailer first before you write the draft. And I'd never heard of that before.
That's too much work. You just write the poster. Write the poster.
just write the title. That's all you need.
Here, I'm going to be really lazy with my pick because, again, I've had so much time to research it.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, Return of the King.
Madness.
I'll actually go lazier, right?
Hobbit.
My favourite, well, no, not my favourite, but one of the most impactful trailers that I've ever seen, Star Wars The Phantom Menace. The first teaser trailer for that, when it landed. You have to put yourself in my shoes, someone who had been a Star Wars fan all his life, never seen a Star Wars film in the cinema, and all of a sudden this trailer lands and it conveys mystery, epic battles. It had everything. Like you were saying earlier on about Prometheus, it promised so much cool shit.
I will not condone a course of action that will lead us to war.
A communications disruption can mean only one thing: invasion.
At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge.
Begin landing your troops.
We haven't much time.
The Federation has gone too far.
I remember them playing that on MTV.
Yes. Oh, God. And
I just remember it's been one of the first trailers you were able to try and like download. The internet was at a certain point where you could, but it did take like an hour or something like that, you know, to download
and
it.
You saw like a postage stamp size video.
Tiny QuickTime kind of little screen.
And it was also one of those phenomenons that whatever film it was playing in front of, and I can't remember which one it was right now, had a huge box office boost, became the #1 film because people just went in to watch the trailer for episode 1 and they just walked out as soon as the film was over, and they would buy a ticket to the next screening of that film so they could see it again in the cinema. Yeah. But wow.
Get to your ships!
They will never get me onto one of those dreadful starships.
Always two there are, a master and an apprentice.
Wipe them out. All of them.
I always thought like the absolute madness of that trailer revealing Darth Maul's double lightsaber.
Oh, double-edged lightsaber.
Why the hell do you show that in a trailer? Surely you keep that for the movie. Imagine if you had no idea about it and then it happens. Like
they did it as well in The Force Awakens. But you're reminding me, Will, of the premiere of The Force Awakens trailer, and it was shown at the expo they do for Star Wars.
Right, yeah.
They played that trailer to an auditorium of about 10,000 people, and the shivers of anticipation where they're like, it's an actual destroyer in the desert, and of course it ends. We're home. And just the eruption.
That, I have to admit, that trailer gave me tingles. That trailer certainly gave me tingles as well. I had a fan boner watching it.
Oh, I'm going to mention as well, because one of my favorite films is Halloween. And when the requel came about, the Lego sequel, the Halloween 2018 one, bringing back Laurie Strode.
I have prayed every night that he would escape.
What the hell did you do that for?
So I can kill him.
And it's just like cutting to the shotgun going off. It's like, this is movies. This is cinema.
His home.
I need to protect my family.
You have no security system, Karen.
Mom, you need help.
Evil is real.
There's a reason we're supposed to be afraid of this night.
I've been preparing for this for a long time. It is not safe to be on the street tonight.
Go home! Get out of here! Get inside! Michael!
I loved it. I remember I was so excited. I was like watching all of the different YouTube reactions to the trailer itself, and it just really fucking worked.
I'll give you a couple of more obvious ones, I suppose. Citizen Kane, that trailer is still amazing.
I suppose that's cinema as well, though.
But it's it's just so weird. It's basically Orson Welles as a microphone talking to you, and he's so cocky, basically, and confident about kind of introducing the cast. He was like, you don't know this person's name, but you will.
Wow.
Thank you. How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? This is Orson Welles. I'm speaking for the Mercury Theater, and what follows is supposed to advertise our first motion picture. Citizen Kane is the title, and we hope it can correctly be called a coming attraction. It's certainly coming to this theater, and I think our Mercury actors make it an attraction. I'd like you to meet them. Speaking of attractions, well, the chorus girls are certainly an attraction, but frankly, ladies and gentlemen, we're just showing you the chorus girls for purposes of ballyhoo. It's pretty nice ballyhoo. But here's some of our real Mercury people. This is the first time you've seen most of them on the screen. Hey, give Joe a little light. Thanks. Now smile for the folks, Joe. Smile. Joseph Cotton, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. Joseph Cotton. I think you're going to see a lot of him. Here's Ruth Warwick, whom I know you love. Ruth. Look at the camera, Ruth. We caught Ruth with her hair up. And here's somebody you've all heard on the radio, so I don't have to tell you he's wonderful. Ray Collins.
It still feels kind of fresh and new and different.
Decide for yourself.
And one other one as well, probably the funniest trailer.
Here we go. It's going to be Grabbers, isn't it?
It's going to be Grabbers. You know it.
Thanks, man.
The Jerry Seinfeld documentary, Comedian.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's interesting. It hasn't aged that well, unfortunately, because, basically Jerry's there. He's the whole conceit of it is that he's done Seinfeld. The series is over. He's done his special, which is basically all his greatest hits, and now he's never going to do any of the old material again. It's just going to be all new material. So it's him starting from scratch, and you see what a painful journey it is to put together like an hour of stand-up. You see him like in comedy clubs, just like literally just failing, like flat on his ass. And in fact, even the audience kind of going, "Is this your first time doing a comedy gig?" Mr. Seinfeld. And there's also a young comedian as well who's kind of on the way up, trying to kind of make his way. So there's kind of a dual narrative going on. But ultimately, Seinfeld's story ends with him going to see Bill Cosby. So I'm basically telling him,
advice.
It is one of the honors of my life to know you. And it's just like, oh God, man. Okay, that hasn't aged well. But the trailer is fantastic. Okay. The trailer is, again, bespoke. It's Hal Douglas, the dean of East Coast trailer narrators. In a world, that guy.
Oh, bring him back.
Right? Yeah, that guy. And it's just a sketch, basically, of him.
Oh, that was great.
Trying to do, they want him to do the narration for the trailer for this movie, and he just can't stop. All of these cliches in a world, a renegade cop, a space station.
Whoa, feedback.
All right, let's try this. This is the voiceover for a comedian movie trailer. Take one.
In a world where laughter was king.
No, in a world, Jack.
What do you mean, no, in a world?
It's not that kind of movie.
Oh? Okay. In a land that...
No, in a land either.
In a time...
I don't think so.
In a land before time.
It's about a comedian, Jack.
One man.
No.
When your life is no longer your own.
What does that mean?
When everything you know is wrong.
That's wrong.
In an outpost.
No.
On the edge of space.
There's no space.
A girl.
No.
Two girls.
No.
Now.
No.
More than ever.
Stop it.
A renegade cop.
I hate you.
A robot renegade cop.
You're fired.
You're fired.
No, you're actually fired.
I'm fired.
Get out of the booth, Jack.
No, I like it in here.
It's fantastic.
The Mad Max trailer, Fury Road.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good one.
Yes, that was powerful. That was absolutely...
I just quickly Googled their...
best trailers.
I Googled Greg movie trailer, and they came up.
Do you know, I obviously, my blinkers are on tonight, but one just popped into my head that another one that was very formative for me was the original teaser trailer for Aliens. The one that's just like
bitch is back.
No, it wasn't that. There was no dialogue. It was a teaser. So it was all like hard cuts against harsh music. And it was really, really oppressive and scary and terrifying, just like that sharp music. And I was terrified of the film just from the trailer alone.
I guess this is probably the place to mention it, but Grabbers won an award for its trailer.
Really?
It did. Hello. There's an actual award show for trailers.
Next thing you'll be telling me there's a podcast for best bits. Oh, Jesus Christ. Come on. Are you serious? Awards for trailers. Come on.
I'm deadly serious. Just like, advertising companies give out awards. They have their own trailer houses, have their own award show.
Advertising companies don't like to slap each other on the back. Come on. They would be totally against that.
The Golden Trailer Awards, they're held at the Sabin Theatre, and Grabbers was nominated for the Golden Fleece Award. And it was up against Hit and Run, The Last Stand, and The Man with the Iron Fists, and Grabbers won. And basically what the Golden Fleece means is that it's a great trailer for a terrible film that duped the audience.
What?
Yeah.
What?
It's on Deadline.
Oh, that's horrible.
Catharsis.
Well, it's good to vent it here.
It is.
It's good to vent it on. Yeah, I think it's important to get off the chest.
The whole lot of them bastards.
You're throwing a party. It's a welcome party for me. But you're leaving in a fortnight. It's just a goodbye party, whatever. Tequila! Is that at the door? Got all under control. There's none trying to kill you.
Have you got Semtex on you?
Not on me, no.
Oh, I'm pissed. It's okay. I'm all right.
You know what? We've talked about extra features and audio commentaries. We've talked about trailers. We've talked about YouTube a lot. And Joe Dante has a YouTube channel called Trailers from Hell, where they do audio commentaries to trailers. And it's a great site and worth checking out there.
Wow.
Well, there we go. Pierce, thanks for having us on your show.
Listen, thanks, lads. It was great. It was so fortuitous that I had the wheel all repaired and everything ready to go. Thanks to Mick in Kulakland.
And, can I put an order in for coffee for the morning, Pierce? Because I know your operator stall is doing great business, by the way. So could I get some coffee in my coffee in the morning rather than just hot water?
I like civet coffee. It's the one where it has to be digested by a civet, one of those little ferret things. and that's all I drink. It's that or basically Nescafe, but I'll, whatever.
I will see you in the morning, as usual.
Excellent.
With a line of animals ready to eat your coffee. Yeah.
So we left the wheel behind because we knew you were coming on and we had to make space for yours, so we don't have the wheel to spin it, Will. One of the first times we've never done it.
Oh, yeah, okay, we'll sort it out. And this is so exciting.
We'll sort it out.
So it's a blind episode for next week. Okay.
Pierce, where can people find you? On Twitter, at Pierce's Writings?
That is right, yeah, Pierce's Writing.
And how do you spell that? It's P-E-A...
No, it's not.
It's Pierce as in Pierce Brosnan. That's clearly who I was named after.
Maybe you shouldn't be living here.
What goes on in this town is none of your business.
As long as I'm living here, it is.
Then maybe you shouldn't be living here!
So yeah, that's where you'll find me. And also you'll find me outside of the office of Best Bits with my coffee and trained animals.
Love it.
Pierce, thank you for coming on.
You're
It was great
welcome.
to have you.
Thanks, guys. All right.
And thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week for another episode of The Best Bits.
I was going, what podcast is this? Adios.
See ya.
The Best Bits podcast is produced by Will and Kevin.
All audio clips and music heard in this episode is the intellectual property of the respective copyright holders, and no infringement is intended.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff.
If you have any notes, comments, scene suggestions, or just want to get in touch with us, email us at bestbitspodcast@gmail.com.
I love you to death, and
Love you to death, son.
And this jog on, eh?
Good night, cunt.
And here is a clip from the lads' latest Mini Bits bonus show. The full episode, plus 80 more, are available on their Patreon.
See ya, Mossy. I gotta go in and record another one of these fucking mini bits.
Oh, yes, this is all it is.
I know. What are you doing?
Right now, on the Academy screener site, and I hit play because there's only a few films on it for the first month or two. There's only like about less than 10 films on it. And Guy Ritchie's The Covenant is on here. So I hit play on that, and I'm hearing we're out in Afghanistan, and I'm hearing all the dirt, and I hear vehicles, and I hear the sound effects of characters walking. But when characters open their mouths, I don't hear any dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's
no dialogue.
They've uploaded the wrong audio track. It's like that Tom Cruise trailer where it was just the sound effects.
Have you met an SP?
Yeah, and this film's been up on the screener site for a few weeks now, and they still have the wrong one here. Well, I tell you what films are actually up there for all Academy members to see, and they see what they've put up there.
But first of all, let's just throw to our theme. And I have to say, the feedback from my thank you ballads was quite fierce.
The power of Christ compels you!
So I asked Mossy, who is a friend of my dad's at the quiz, sing us a theme tune.
Oh.
So over to Mossy.
Hit the cards. I'm fine, I'll get it done in one take. It's the Many Bits. Oh, podcast, what will they say? With Will and Kevin Cock.
The best fucking podcast.
That'll do.
That'll do.
My God.
Thank you, Mossy.
He would make an angel weep. That voice would make an angel weep.
Telling you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Boolabus.
It only cost us 2 months Patreon money, so,
Is that all? Money well spent, in my eyes.
Yeah. I mean, you can't get much for €20. Will, you were telling me before the intro that you were looking at stuff on the Academy Screeners website.
The Academy Awards. So for official members, yes. So they don't send out DVDs anymore. So how you do all your streaming stuff is all via the Academy website. And the streaming season has begun, which is exciting. So it means for the rest of the year...
Did it ever end?
It does end. It does. After the Academy Awards, there's about 2 weeks, and they take all the films down, and then they begin again at the end of August, and they all start coming up. So it's a whole new collection of hopefuls.
So how many films are on there?
Right now, about 10. Actually, 10 exactly. I can tell you the 10.
Oh, go on, tell me.
John Wick 4.
For the Oscars. Oh, because there's like...
Yes, because they're adding in stunt category, aren't they?
Are they adding it in? Is the stunt category being added?
I believe they're adding in some sort of stunt category.
Breaking news straight from an Academy member's mouth.
Because they're adding in stunt category, aren't they?
Slash film.
I don't know. Did I read this in an article? I feel they were.
I
felt they were.
Have long overlooked stunts, and my God, it's pure artistry.
Yeah.
And it is incredibly, well, these days, it's all fucking rubber computer generated avatars.
That's why we should highlight, that's why these people should be getting their Oscars when someone's actually gone out then. Yeah,
go back,
absolutely.
Go back and give it to your man from Mad Max who broke his legs.
Give it to Richard Farnsworth, who was a stuntman and starred in The Straight Story. Yeah, Richard Farnsworth was a career stuntman. Absolutely.
Wasn't that also the case with Machete? What's your man, Machete? Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo.
Is
really?
It Trejo or Trejo?
I always call him Trejo, but he just says, call me Danny.
I was going to say that back to you.
Nah.
I was like, just that.
Weird.
Tells me,